Hi, welcome to another episode of All Things Moon, Lunar Wisdom for Everyday Life with myself, Kelly Jones. And yes, I know it's been a little while. So if you were listening to the last episode, this is episode number 43. So if you listened to number 42, you would know that I was having a lovely weekend mini breathe break last weekend down in Cornwall. So Cornwall, if you're not from the UK, is down in the southwest. It's down the bottom of the UK in the little pointy bit down there. And there's no motorways down there. So that's one of the reasons. I live on a main road on a set of traffic lights here in the middle of Chelmsford City. And I had bought a couple of flights for Tom's birthday present back in February. But actually, truth is, I really needed a break myself from the city, from the grime, from the pollution, and to get some sea air. And we were staying at a place called Sea Spaces Hotel, which is just like staying in an Airbnb in your own swanky little apartment, with a sea view inside a hotel. So we had many of the luxuries that a hotel comes with. There was a cafe, restaurant, swimming pool, beautiful swimming pool, and jacuzzi, which we had access to. And there was a yoga going on in the morning. So I was up for 8 a.m. sunrise yoga on the Saturday morning. And where we were was just over the road from Porth Beach. And if we turned left or right, we were on the coastal sea walk. So left to go to Newquay and right to go to Watergate Bay, where all the surfers were. And we were hugely blessed by the weather. The weather forecast really wasn't that good. So we went prepared mentally for it to be wet and rainy. And we only had one bit of rain, which was while I was doing yoga on the Saturday morning, and it cleared up and we had sunshine the whole time we were there. So still chilly, but beautiful in the sun. So we actually got to sit down on the rocks on the beach and watch the surfers and go for walks and a mini breathe break. And it really did be good because that was, pre coming up to the eclipse in Virgo and all these retrogrades that we've got going on. So forgive me if you see me looking down all the time. I have got some notes here because there's quite a bit to get through and to remember to tell you. But the most exciting news of the week, which happened literally just after the eclipse in Virgo. And I suppose that the thing that a Virgo would most be known for is being analytical and perfectionism. So the Virgo eclipse was a call for us to move away from the need to be perfect. And my astrology exam papers that I had to hand in to Nightlight Astrology, where I have been studying the ancient Hellenistic version of astrology. So it's going right back and honoring the ancient wisdom, the ancient ways of doing it when they would observe. So it was the rationality and science of things, but it also integrates the modern way of doing things. So I had an exam paper. I've done other courses, but I really didn't find what I was looking for in those. They felt a little shallow, and I am a deep person. I need the bigger picture. I need the philosophical side of things, something with more depth, something I can really dive into. And whoa, it really has been diving into the deep end. And I handed in my exam papers a few weeks ago, finally, after lots of perfectionism going on. And just after that lovely release that we got from that, on that Virgo eclipse, I received my exam results, which was on, I do believe that was on Saturday night. And it was, yes, because I had done a lovely moon ceremony previous to that, and I was still kind of winding down from a lovely moon ceremony. It was around about midnight, and I have been glancing at my emails, waiting for my result to come through with increasing self-doubt and increasing imposter syndrome. And there it was, the email saying, congratulations, you have passed. And I passed with flying colours, super good feedback. There was probably only one thing in there that I kind of missed, which, to be honest, I hadn't originally missed it, but keep going back over things. Of course, in the end, something got missed out, as it always will do, because there is so much to consider. There are so many possibilities there can be from a blank chart in front of you. Well, I say a blank chart, it was an anonymous chart that was having to read. And the chart had no date, no time, no year, no place, no male, female, nothing. Just the original 7 planets on a chart as they had been at the birth of this anonymous person. And we had a lot of either technical or intuitively interpretive questions on there. And I am very proud to say that apparently I was right on the money, and I managed to see in there somewhere that my strong feeling was that it was a man. I didn't actually say that on my papers, but I really strongly felt that it was male energy, and quite possibly a psychologist. Lots of hidden underworld kind of stuff there that was hidden. And it turns out that he was a well-known psychologist that was known for his studies on psychedelics. Well, so I am feeling very confident and very happy and truly blessed to have found Nightlight Astrology. I want to give them a shout out. Adam Ellenbass, it's his company. He's got a team, and they make hard stuff easy. And talking of that, this weekend coming up, I'm going to London for the weekend to do another Strala Yoga intensive training weekend. I have actually done this particular training before, but as things always evolve, I'm sure it won't be the same. Last time I did it, I was in New York. This time I'm doing it in London. Going to be meeting up with some of my lovely Strala family. Strala Yoga is all about making hard things easy. So it really is something that I've made things really hard for myself over my lifetime. So as I am growing older and wiser, I am looking for ways to make hard things easier on myself, and then I can share it with you. And talking of sharing, I'm going to request this at the beginning, because if I do ever mention it, I'm always a little bit shy about self-promotion, but if I do ever mention it, I always mention it at the end. But I'm going to mention it now whilst you're still with me, in case you have to leave. Please, could you press the subscribe, follow, like buttons to help get this out to more people. This is how my channel can grow, and this is how I can do more birth charts for more people and share this information for free for those who can't come to me and maybe pay for it, so they can get to understand it over time. As we know, a reading is kind of like, going fully in. Listening to the podcast is tapping in and coming to a moon ceremony is somewhere in between, where we give you a lot more information and we dive into our own stuff together a lot more. So the last moon ceremony was wonderful. We did some really deep journaling on this one, and as always, the oracle spoke and backed up what we were consciously thinking about and questioning and diving into. So much coming up. So we've just had, as I've said, an eclipse, and that was a total lunar eclipse, blood moon, where the moon shines red for a certain amount of time. That would have been visible over America and Mexico, not here in the UK. And we are coming up to a second eclipse, which will be a solar eclipse, not quite as intense and potent as the last one. Phew. This is a solar eclipse in the sign of Aries. So where we have the north and the south nodes, that is where the eclipses are. So in the last 18 months, the eclipses were in Aries and Libra. And now those nodes are moving into Virgo and Pisces. So this is the very last one of that Aries Libra eclipse axis. So it's what we're now leaving behind and moving on from. And now we're moving into the north node being in the sign of Pisces, the south node being in Virgo. So hence the south node is it's to do with patterns and habits and programs and ancestral stuff that we are needing to heal and move away from. So with Virgo, I mentioned perfectionism as being one of those that need to be so perfect. All these filters that we put on so that we look perfect on screen. You know, I've got my greys coming through, my hair needs doing. As you can see, as Mars is slowly moving out of my sun sign of Cancer, my hair is getting less red and more pink as I get less angry and more heart open. I jest about this because Mars has yet to go over my Mars yet. So it's still on its way out of Cancer. My Mars on my birth chart is at 23 degrees and Mars has not quite made it there yet. I think it's the 30th and the 1st of April Fool's Day, that is going to cross over. Mars, for me personally, highlights my 8th house of anything to do with money and other people, to do with inheritance, debts, things like that. Just previous to the eclipse, we had the Sun conjuncting Saturn. So the Sun is still in Pisces, moving through the sign of Pisces, and has come across Saturn. So as that happened, even though I knew about it, I got the sudden call to call my friend who is an accountant to ask her if she could help me with something that had been hanging over my head. It's not actually a debt. I think it's a mistake, when the computer has not taken you off of the system. So you're still getting these things. And so it doesn't matter about the details, but I stepped up, put my adult shoes on, contacted, and I've had that meeting today actually before recording this. I needed to get that out of the way before I could sit down and do this and feel some sense of relief. Now, there is no final outcome to that situation yet, but I just feel better for having started to deal with it. And I said, I need to be mature, grown up, and deal with it, whatever the outcome is, even if I end up needing to pay something. So that would be this 8th house. This is Mars going back over my Mars again. And these are the things that can come up. But when you're studying this stuff and you know that you've got these energies around that can help you, then I used that energy of Saturn to step into those grown-up adult shoes and be mature about the situation instead of running away from it. We have got the sun coming up to Neptune tomorrow, and that would be not a good day for that kind of thing. So if I was thinking about this tomorrow, I'd probably decide to go and watch a movie, which is something I don't normally do. Disappear and hide in the cinema. Move into a fantasy world. Get lost in a book. That's much more the energy of tomorrow. It's not an energy for dealing with the grown-up stuff. But the sun is there, and the sun represents the father in your chart. So we have still got, an air of our core identity in that energy. So yesterday, the sun was next to the North Node, and the North Node is where we are karmically headed towards. It's our soul purpose journey towards, collectively and individually. And that is currently, we are all headed towards a more Pisces type of energy collectively. So, if you're here listening to this and you never thought you would be listening to astrology and all about the moon, then that is the sign that more and more people are headed towards spirit, towards things that are maybe more ethereal and mystical than you might have otherwise been aware of. It's our search for something that is higher than ourselves and the material, that things that we can see around us, that thing that we know is there but we can't touch it. Just like the internet, there's so many things that we know and believe in but we can't see, like thoughts. Yep, we know we have thoughts but we can't see them. So we know they're real. Are they real? Oh, let's not get into that discussion. Anyway, are they our thoughts? So we have the sun yesterday conjunct the North Node in Pisces. And then tomorrow the sun's going to be with Neptune. And then the day after that, we have the Spring Equinox. So we've got this North Node in Pisces, spiritual, mystical energy. And then we've got the sun with Neptune, which is that illusionary, kind of deceptive. We don't know what's true, what's not true, foggy, kind of dreaminess. And then we're into the equinox, which is all about spring and seeds and the earth and the birds and the lambs and the change of season. So a much more grounding feeling come the 20th. So the equinox is arriving in between eclipses. How perfect is that? So we have this celebratory moment between these big changing of time. So much shift from how it has been into a completely different type of energy. And if you think the next one is in Aries season, so we're at the beginning of the astrological year. We're at the beginning of all things new. I can't grab them now because I would just disrupt everything, but I've got some lovely daffodils on my windowsill here, which I rescued. They're rescue daffodils because, as you may or may not know, I do a bit of gardening part-time with Tom. He has a gardening business, and we kind of have to do what the clients ask. We have a client who is completely obsessed with everything being purple and white. Purple, blue and white in the garden. And these sneaky little daffodils had managed to get in and come out yellow. How dare they? So he asked us to get rid of them. So they've come home with me. The bulbs have gone in my garden and the flowers are in a vase, making me very happy on the windowsill there. So the equinox energy between these eclipses is going to help us find our center. is going to help us to center ourselves, to ground ourselves before the activation of more crazy things to come during the Venus retrograde, and now 1 hour after the eclipse in Virgo that we've just had, Mercury, the trickster, turned retrograde. So I think we're feeling, I don't know about you, but I'm really experiencing the Venus retrograde much more so than the Mercury. Mercury turns retrograde 3 times a year, so it is something that we're kind of used to. Those that don't know anything about this are definitely used to it. You know, they don't even know. They just think, oh God, my computer's not working. My data has got lost. My travel plans have gone wrong. But these are kind of things that we get used to. If you don't know about it, then you can't utilize it. So Mercury retrograde, really good time for going back over and redoing things. Venus retrograde is a bit like the 40 days, 40 nights scenario. So my friend Louise Simpson, she is a professional organizer. She is running a 40 days of clearing one thing out a day of your belongings. She was doing that to tie in with Lent. But we've got equinox, we've got eclipses. But what more reasons do we need to be given to get rid of some stuff and cleanse our space? That is what that Virgo moon and eclipse was all about, was what can we clear away? How can we cleanse and purify our energy field, our aura, our internal physical body, because it's earth. Virgo is very much to do with health, alternative health, our bodies, our well-being, our self-care. Self-care, I feel, is to get rid of clutter and things that are hanging over you, that are making things feel heavy. One thing a day. What can you get rid of one thing a day? And does it need to be necessarily a material thing? So it could be something that's sitting in an envelope that you're not addressing. And I don't mean writing the address on the envelope, although it could be something you're supposed to be sending. Probably don't send something during a Mercury retrograde, wait until afterwards because it might not get there. But something that you're not confronting is what I'm meaning. So could you get rid of that? How could you cleanse what's hanging over you, the smog and the fog of this Neptune energy? How can we clear it? So this eclipse has come along to help us with that. But the Venus retrograde in Aries in particular, I feel is activating stuff around the heart opening. Now, I did a astrology yoga class last Friday morning on the day of the eclipse. And then I did, Tom and I held a gong bath in the evening for the full moon eclipse. And at both sessions, I took the Colette Baron Reid's Oracle of the Sevens cards. I don't get anything for promoting her, by the way, but I'm just telling you what cards I've got there. I took the Oracle of the Seven cards with me to both events. And, you know, always have a very good shuffle and everything. But the same card came out twice. So I am just going to share this with you. Now, if you are just listening on audio, sorry that you can't see it. I had a very disgruntled message from somebody that she couldn't see the cards because she was listening to the audio. But you can on Spotify and YouTube see this on video as well if you wanted to actually see the cards. So this is the broken open card. And she's sitting in a lotus flower, and there is light coming from her heart space and also from her third eye, and she's surrounded by stars. But it's the broken open card. And I feel like I've heard of so many people that no matter how much they've tried to hold it together, things are breaking them open. And collectively, I feel that we are having to be broken open. This Pisces energy that we are heading towards, the highest expression of Pisces is compassion and return to spirit. Compassion. If our hearts are shut down, we cannot feel compassion. It's very, very hard if we've shut down our hearts. I've just recently lost a friend whose heart shut down. She had an embolism of the heart. We're hearing of so many people that are young. She would have been 55, whose hearts have stopped beating. But I see so many people around me when I walk on the streets and walk through town, in the shops, wherever we might be, and I see so many people that are just seemingly vacant, empty, shut down. Their feelings, where are their feelings? Where is their imagination? Where is the magic? I'm just going to read you the last line from this card, Broken Open. Love the you that is the result of being broken open by life's challenges and lessons. Love the you. Now, Venus in retrograde in the sign of Aries. Aries, the I am. Venus, love, beauty, values, worth, how we value ourselves. Also to do with money, but I feel like because of the Aries, it's the I am. What house area any of this falls in your chart would determine much more as to whether it would be around your finances or not. I know for me personally, this is in my 5th house. The 5th house, the pursuit of pleasure, of joy, of fun, creativity, self-expression. I feel like this eclipse and me finally getting my exam results has released some of that need to stop doubting myself for not being perfect enough to do this, to share this with you, to read your charts, to intuitively understand. I'm 54 years old, for God's sake, Kelly. I am wiser and older, but it's around values, how we value ourselves, our self-worth. Reviewing also. Think of Aries. Aries can be very assertive, very self-assertive. They come in, steam in and give their opinion, no matter what. So it could be of how we assert ourselves, but particularly in our relationships, in love. We've got the sun traveling forwards past the North Node, past Neptune, and then into Aries. So by the 21st, we'll have a much more Aries feeling going on as we move into Aries season, the beginning. But we've got Venus and Mercury traveling backwards. So as the sun crosses over the bridge to Aries, we've got Mercury and Venus coming back over the bridge into Pisces. So we've really got this, an ending, a beginning, an ending, a beginning going on. So that liminal space that I was talking about in the last episode, we're still kind of in that. We're still in this to and fro between the ending and a beginning. And the Strala Yoga theme tune, if you remember, I went to a gig in London a few weeks ago to listen to a composer, an artist called Dustin O'Halloran. Our Strala Yoga theme tune is an ending, a beginning. So I've played that even at our gong bath the other night, which I wouldn't normally play that there, but I played it there as well because I felt it was really appropriate, beautiful, emotive piece of music. Big changes. So another big change, and something that has been caused me to be hugely emotional just before I came online here, wasn't talking about to my accountant about the tax office, but I saw my mum sent me some photographs of all their belongings already unpacked by a removals company in her house that she's been in for the past 18 years. And I had this massive realization of Cancerian sentimentality that I'll never be going to that house ever again. Oh, and I can feel the emotion coming up now. So apologies for my voice changing and little tears popping up in my eyes. But, you know, full moons, eclipses, all this energy, Pisces energy, Venus breaking open our heart spaces. I forgive myself for having this emotion coming up. It's healthy. We've got all these conjunctions of the sun. So the sun is going next to. We've also got a nice energy on Sunday where the sun will be in what's known as a sextile. So that's 60 degrees away from each other. So two planets are 60 degrees away, and it'll be in a sextile to Pluto. Pluto being still in Aquarius for the next 20 years with the sun. So I'll tell you about that in a moment. It's going to be an extra long episode today, by the way, because I've got so much to tell you. But what we've also got coming up is the sun conjunct Venus. So as I said, you've got the sun moving into Aries and you've got Venus moving back towards Pisces. So we've got the sun is going to go, or Venus is going to go across the sun, or the sun's going to go across Venus, whichever way you want to look at it. But that is known as a cazimi, but it's also known as the Venus star point. And that is, again, bringing your attention to relationships, companionship, all those kind of fifth house type scenarios like pleasure, creativity. Also, how you value yourself, but placing more value on harmony and ease. And the Venus star point, if I can just get my notes up here to tell you about it, it's very much about a cazimi is basically like the rebirth of a planet. It's kind of when it goes across, it's dying, and when it comes out the other side, it's reborn. Symbolically, it's not, Venus is not actually going to die, but she is coming across, and the Venus star point is when she is conjunct or cazimi the sun. But that's happening. The door's just opened. Excuse me. The door is creaking open. I think it's because it's windy outside. Because there's definitely no one there. Hello, come in. On March the 22nd, yes, at 2 degrees, is the beginning of a new 8-year cycle for Venus. So focusing on new aspects of self. We've got Aries, I am. Venus, how I value myself. Being reborn at the Venus star point at 2 degrees on the 22nd. So that's 222 relationships, not 111. But it is who am I in relationships when two become one. Okay. So I'll just briefly tell you about this. The Venus retrograde in Aries is in a sextile to Pluto in Aquarius. We've also got, that is correct. So it's Venus retrograde in Aries is 60 degrees away from Pluto in Aquarius. We got there in the end. That's on the 21st of March. See, even I get confused, even though I know about this stuff. So basically, if you think Pluto is transformation, Venus and Aries together can be quite passionate. A sextile is a harmonious and very beneficial aspect. So this should bring a flow of energy that can lead to much more harmonious outcomes, particularly around those relationships, even if it's a relationship with yourself. This is where we're looking at. But remember that Aquarius is very unorthodox in the way that it does things. It very rarely does things the way that others do. So this transformation could be unorthodox. It might not be how you might normally do things, but it's really could bring some self-empowerment with that Aries energy, and Pluto, Lord of the underworld, going deep down under there and transforming something that's maybe been buried, brought to the surface, broken open and released. This is the energies of now. So with the forwards backwards motion of Venus, this is the second of 3 opportunities if you tap into this energy of the Pluto Aquarius, because obviously it's going back and then it's going to go forwards again. So we'll get a third one. So as we end at the beginning, the post-Virgo eclipse energy is to purify and cleanse. That may be our body, our mind, our aura. Virgo, the body, Earth, Mercury, the ruling planet, our mind, Pisces, the ethereal, our aura. This is where all of this energy is. Maybe even cleansing our home as Mars finishes up travelling through the sign of Cancer, which represents the mother and the home. So as we have the true beginning of the zodiac year, the newness of spring, all coming up, we've got Neptune's final leaving party in the sign of Pisces. So I think Mercury and Venus are going back for a party with Neptune, because he's going to be leaving Pisces after being there for 14 years. And that Neptune is at home in Pisces, is his home sign. He doesn't really want to move into Aries, but he needs to flee the nest and go off as a pioneer for new adventures and new beginnings. So he's been in his underwater kingdom of Pisces for 14 years. Apologies for the sirens, that door that opened by itself because of the wind. Now we can hear the sirens, which is why I keep it shut. But anyway, we're basically at the end. Just to, remind you, Mercury is retrograde. So back up your data. We go over things before you do them. Don't assume anything. Double check. Phone up and make sure. Don't arrive somewhere just assuming. Make sure the communication has definitely got through. Check your travel plans. Check your flights. Yes, my mum is moving house between 2 eclipses during a Mercury retrograde. But I have prepped her. I really have. So, with this whole Neptune moving into Aries as well, I mean, crazy chaotic travel is possible. Because Mercury, I think, when does Mercury pops into Pisces on the 29th, 2 days after Venus. So she goes in on the 27th. Venus will be very happy to be back in Pisces. That's her exaltation. So a nice softer way of looking at self-worth and value there. Whereas in the Aries zone, it could be a little bit more harsh at what we need to look at. Bearing in mind as well that because Mercury is going back there, it is going to conjunct Neptune as well, as they're all passing each other. So that would focus your thinking and communications on spiritual topics, on mysteries, the occult and secrets. It'll be an ideal time to study the arts. It will enhance your imagination and creativity, which I am all for. I'm going to be doing a lot more on that subject. Watch this space. I feel like one of my purposes within all of this is storytelling and imagination. So if there's anything that you would like to ask me to do, if you've got any ideas, if your imagination is going crazy and there's something you'd like me to do, to share, to teach you, to to bring into the world, then please do let me know. Mercury conjunct Neptune, she may well get some very lucid dreams, a really good time for meditation, and a really good time to practice things like astrology and tarot, or to get a reading at this time. Really, really good time to go get yourself an astrology reading. So what I didn't say at the beginning of this video, which I should have when I asked you to press the like, subscribe and share, is that to celebrate me finally having my certificates and being so happy about being able to share the ancient wisdom for the modern mystic Hellenistic astrology readings, birth chart readings for you. I am doing a 22% discount based on that 222 that we've got right back here when I was talking about the Venus star point. I thought, well, if I can help you to give yourself some self-love, help you to get to know yourself more, I'm doing a 22% discount. So the code for that is SpaceGirl22. SpaceGirl22, and that's all in uppercase. Go to my website, kellyjones.me, go to services, find the All Things Moon birth chart readings, and at the checkout you can put in SpaceGirl22 and you get 22% off. So I think we're at 41 minutes now. I think I've been harping on for long enough. So remember, keep your heart open no matter what. If it breaks wide open, just know that you are going to grow in so many ways from it, and you may not be able to see any of that right now. You might not be able to, but valuable insights are available to you if you take the time to stop, slow down and notice. Make hard things easier. It's been lovely talking with you, and I will see you all next week.